Good afternoon. Today is the 25th of February, 2016. This is the Board of Liquor License Commissioners for the City of Baltimore. Chairman, are you ready to start the docket? Okay. The first item on our transfers docket is Adrian Eichelman, and that is Castanego Management LLC. Trade name is Colette, 1707 North Charles Street. This is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor. Application for transfer of ownership and request for off-premises catering and outdoor seating.
For the record, Melvin J. Kadensky, 19 East Fayette Street, representing the applicant. This application transfer an existing license with the Red Parrot is, I think if you know, up near on Charles Street, Rural Development. He's going to take over the same space. He's had a very interesting past. He's worked in Italy and various other places and have a full-time restaurant. I had him bring me in at least a proposed menu. Didn't bring anything to eat, but I'll submit that. He has talked with the community groups there and taken the alcohol awareness course and is familiar with the rules and regulations of the liquor board. Will make no changes in the operation the way it's set up, and had outdoor table service there along with the business. And he also requests catering.
And just to note for the record, we are going to make the official change to the application for outdoor catering. There was an email and letter sent by Mr. Kadinsky.
So that will be done. Mr. Kadensky will make the change on the original before we issue the license.
Before you, absolutely, because he wanted to do some catering in case people had a party at your house or something and you want some product delivered.
Which community groups did he meet with?
I think it's North Charles. Again,
Charles North.
Charles North. I'm sorry, I always say.
And what was
They indicated they were not going to oppose it. Don't send a letter of approval, and that restaurant is in that same group that's there.
And
Well, that's
Madam
enough.
Secretary, we don't have anything in the file from them, right?
No, we don't.
Normally, they're pretty vocal. If they had anything to say, you would get it.
And you said that he has taken the alcohol awareness or will take it?
He has, yes.
If he's going to testify, we have to
I'm
swear
going to
him
have this
in.
exhibit
Yeah,
one.
well, I'm just,
And for the record, Chairman, I'm adding exhibit one, which is a copy of the menu that was submitted by Mr. Kadinsky.
Thank you.
And when is it due to open? It's currently closed, it looks like.
well, actually, they're in there now. After it closed for a week or two, and they reopened, and they're operating under that current license till this gets transferred.
And this is the first liquor license?
For this individual, yes.
Any modifications to the restaurant itself?
No, I mean the same layout as the Red Parrot.
There's no transaction on the sale of the liquor license?
The transactional amount is for the lease. They're picking up the balance of the lease that's there from the Red Parrot.
And the lease has the liquor license in
No, but that's part of it in order for them to go ahead.
it? Pick up the lease, okay.
Yeah,
So how's the liquor license being paid for?
but it's being in his corporation. The landlord had control of the liquor license as part of the lease. So as part of this lease, he's also taken over. So if anything would happen, the landlord would have a chance to take the license back.
So the liquor license is in the landlord's name or has a lien?
No. It's in the Red Parrot. But the Red Parrot defaulted, and that's the reason why he's coming in.
Okay. The Red Parrot defaulted, okay.
What was it? Red Parrot Asian Bistro?
Red
You
Parrot Asian
remember?
Bistro. Tried to go there one night and it was.
I remember. I saw you there.
I'm not
There's-
talking about where I eat.
And there's no request for live entertainment, correct?
No.
It's a big restaurant.
That's where the old Chesapeake was, if you remember. And they've got 3 or 4 different restaurants in there. They're developing that whole area.
17?
Next to Penn and Quill. And Tapas Teatros.
Cars Eye has one there, yeah.
I'm giving too much personal information.
No problem.
And there's no permit issue with respect to the outdoor service?
No, they have a minor privilege, and we'll make sure you get a copy of it.
Article 2B10202A2, I find the facts of the proffer from Mr. Kudensky that all 5 elements are met, and I'm a yes.
I'm a yes, on the condition that we get the amended application.
Okay.
Okay.
You gonna see Miss Stacy Russell back there? What?
Is that case over?
Yes, sir. Can you pick me up? Okay.
I didn't know if it was on.
You want to get her something to give to Stacy?
No, no, Stacy's. Do I have it? Oh, the folder.
She's approaching the bench. Piece of paper and give her a check, okay? And then talk to me.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Joe's Tavern.
Okay. The next item is Joseph Lloyd. Trade name is Joe's Tavern of Dundalk, 1006-8 Dundalk Avenue. This is a Class BD7, beer, wine, and liquor, an application for transfer of ownership.
Once,
You're on the mic.
gets picky, doesn't he? For the record, Melvin J. Kudensky representing the applicant. It's an application to transfer an existing license. And I'm sure a lot of you know where is Joe's Tavern. Has been down there on Dundalk and Boston Street for probably since Prohibition. Mr. Lloyd has experience. He's worked in various different businesses. In fact, his dad, Mr. Chairman, you remember Old Shantytown on Bayless Street. His dad was one of the owners of Old Shantytown up there. And they have,
Remember when Joe's Tavern was owned by Joe Stazak, who was then a senator from,
Senator Joseph Stazak
I remember,
in the tragic accident.
I remember.
And he has no changes. He's going to operate the establishment the way it is. It's right next, has its own parking lot. It's right next to a drugstore. He has talked to everybody in that little area there, the people and the owners and so forth. Everybody's looking forward to him to taking over the place. He's going to take the alcohol awareness course. He is familiar with the rules and regulations. Like I say, he's been associated with the alcoholic beverage business. In fact, he's worked with a lot of them. He has another business, a valet parking business, and you probably, if you were down at Ouzo Bay or so like that, you probably used his service down there. Well, you remember if you weren't down at Ouzo Bay, you probably didn't then.
No, well, we're going to have them sworn in
Okay.
because I have a question for him.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Will you be on site, or who's going to, you put your hand down, or who's going to run the operation, day-to-day operation? Will that be you?
Yes, sir.
I think the evening hours are the one when they do the valet parking, and he has a good group of people who are down there. Tried to take my car one day. What was his name, Lenny? Yeah, Lenny tried to take my car. I said, no way.
Well, after 6 o'clock, basically, the only business in that shopping center is yours, because the pharmacy closes at 6.
Right.
Right,
Well, there's a check cashing place next door, too.
right.
Has there been any interaction with the community? Or
He went around to every place that's around there and talked to the people who were there and explained what he wanted to do, and nobody had any objection to him.
is there a community association?
Yeah, I don't, they used to have an active one there that was fairly active. And what was it, Southeast something?
Oh,
Joanne
wait, is it Pat?
Adamski or
Oh,
something?
Oh,
I don't know.
Joyce Adamowski.
Yeah, I haven't seen him for a while.
It's just basically the people from Steelton Avenue that is directly across
That's,
the
yeah,
street.
and out behind the funeral parlor, they're the ones that,
Okay.
what's it, the weird dog or something up there, they always complain about them.
No.
And did you
On
say,
next week's,
Next week,
No,
no dogs, no?
the playbook.
The
that's what you're
playbook.
talking about. Playbook.
the playbook.
That's catty corn.
Wet egg, yes.
Both of theirs in
Graceland Inn,
there,
Graceland.
absolutely.
I remember.
Alma Tuesday.
That's Graceland, yeah, Graceland High.
Is there a hold on this organization, on a state tax?
No.
They've gotten that removed?
Oh, yeah. It's an active license.
And before the transfer occur, we will make sure that any holds are removed.
You're going to see a lot of those,
Right.
because what happens is they'll send in the ones that are behind. The board cannot reissue the license the May 1st until they clear their sales tax hold. So it's not uncommon that a lot of them will wait till the last minute and then they'll clear it up.
Okay.
did you say that he was doing the awareness course?
He's going to take the alcohol awareness class. I have him lined up with John Murray, and he'll submit the certificate as part of the checklist.
Right.
Fine with me.
Based on the proffer of Mr. Kadensky and the testimony from the applicant, I find that under Article 2B, Section 10202A2, that all 5 elements are met by the testimony as proffered, and I'm a yes.
Yes.
And just a question about the bar itself. It says here 51 seats. Is that still the plan?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
It's going to stay that way.
All right. And how, it looks like it's about half, the bar is going to be about half the establishment? Or is
That's
that?
correct.
That's correct, okay.
There'll be food served there?
No, it's it's strictly a pouring place. It used to be, years ago, people worked in the factories, all went there and they cashed their checks and spent their money and lived in the area. Now it's just mainly a bar area.
Okay, just a
Just want
bar.
to make sure there's service, because it's a BB7.
Absolutely. I made that, the bar's got to be open all times, anytime you sell anything else.
Right.
Okay,
All
thank
right.
you.
I'm a yes then.
Thank you.
Ann McRae, Xiaoyang Lin, Zhaojing Corporation. Trade name is H&C Market at 1946 Penrose Avenue. This is a Class A beer, wine, and liquor, an application for transfer of ownership.
Counsel?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. My name is Jay Yu, representing the applicants, Mrs. Ann McRae and Mrs. Xia Ying Lin. This is a petition for transfer from the current licensees Kui Zhu Chen and Shi Yong Lin. And Mrs. Lin here will be the 99% shareholder, and Ms. McRae will be the 1% shareholder, and Mrs. Lin will be the president and the secretary, and Ms. McRae will be the treasurer of the corporation. This is a stock transfer, so they're pretty much assuming the stocks of the corporation. So they did not form a separate corporation to purchase the assets. Rather, it's a straight stock purchase. The request for transfer is based on that. Mrs. McRae, I believe, is a qualified individual to be the licensee. She is a long-time resident of Baltimore City for 36 years. She's a registered voter. She owns a real property in Baltimore City since 1993 and has been diligently paying property tax on that. And she does not have any significant traffic violations or any type of a criminal or serious traffic offenses or convictions. And she is of a person of good moral character, and I believe she does qualify as a licensee. Mrs. Lin is a Baltimore City resident as well. She resides at 1946 Penrose Avenue, which is the business itself. She resided on the second floor of the business. Once she gets naturalized, she will become the registered voter for Baltimore City. And she is in the process of acquiring the real property of 1946 Penrose Avenue. So once that is completed, she will become the taxpayer and also property owner in Baltimore City. Mrs. Lin does not have prior experience in liquor business, but the current licensee, Mr. Shilin Ing, is her brother, and he is also working at the store with her, and he's training her and helping her with the business. So she's actually picking up a lot in operating a retail liquor business. Mrs. Lin did obtain a certificate of achievement, which is the alcohol awareness training program. She completed it yesterday. So if I may, I'd like to submit it. And even though she did undergo the training, I did, on behalf of my client, prepare a alcoholic beverage sales guidelines, which pretty much entails the exact steps she should take each time she serves a customer who's requesting to purchase a alcoholic beverage, Your Honors, if I may submit that.
Request ID, but I see. Not just glance and make sure to look at the date. Okay.
And there is not going to be any changes to the premises, or there won't be any changes in the manner of operation of the business. It'll be as is.
Won't be any change to the floor plan.
Nothing wrong.
I mean, we've got the drawing here, but the floor plan's gonna stay the same.
Exactly the same.
How long is the brother gonna stay available to train her in the operation of the business?
Actually, he's in it together. They're brother and sister, so
Okay.
So he's gonna be there the
pretty
full
much,
time?
yes.
Okay.
What percentage is food being sold out of the place?
It's a Class A. There's no requirement. It's a Class A, there's no
I
requirement.
know. It looks like a market.
It's a market though, yeah.
Freezer,
Yeah, they have a prep area.
prep area,
About 70%.
7% food.
70%.
How much?
70.
Oh,
But I have to confirm.
Oh,
But
that's
I'm
fine. That's fine.
And is this finalized because it says must read and sign? Or is this are you gonna add a signature? line?
Yes, in case they hire an employee, we're going to have somebody sign that as well.
This will be Exhibit 2.
thank you.
Two?
Thank you.
And it's currently open?
Yes.
Any community involvement?
I actually utilized the Baltimore City's website to locate the surrounding communities, and I wasn't able to locate any single one. Obviously, the limitation for the website search is 500 feet, so I couldn't find any to contact.
And it was posted. So.
Yes.
It was posted on February 8th.
You already knows about it.
And, Madam Secretary, we haven't received anything?
No, we did not receive any comment in regards to this file.
Do you know how long this establishment has been there?
Personally, no, I do not. But if I may look at,
Well, it's back to
What did the
2005.
record show?
2005.
Yeah, on our computer, it goes back to 2005 as the last transfer of ownership, so it
No violation.
pre-existed that date.
Can't be too controversial in the neighborhood.
No, I wouldn't think.
Should be here.
Since 2005.
Probably before that, because that was the last transfer of ownership.
thank you.
And you're not, and she's not making any changes to the inside of the establishment?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
I'm a yes.
Yes.
According to Article 2B, Section 10, 202A2, I find that based on the proper testimony given by the attorney and the questions by the commissioners, that we meet the requirements under the law, and I'm a yes.
I agree, I'm a yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
we up to the violation check?
Yes, we are.
Yes, we're up to the violations.
Where's Mr. Akris?
He's actually in the back with the outside with some licensees.
Oh, he's outside. Okay,
Yes.
no worries. I'll get him later.
Okay. So if I can, I'd like to change the order if it's possible, Chairman.
Go ahead.
I'm going to move to number 3, Charles Armwood and Michael Gebrew, and this is for Doc's Liquors at trade name Doc's Liquors at 1501 North Fulton Avenue, a Class A beer, wine, and liquor. This is a sales to minor that occurred on January 12th, 2016.
For the record, Melvin J. Kudensky representing the licensee. For purpose of, we'll make an admission on this case.
Do we need to read into the record, Mr. Kaninsky, or will you stipulate
Well,
as to the charges?
We'll
for the
stipulate and waive the reading thereof.
Okay. We've got the stipulation for the charges
Correct. So
put
that
into the record, but I see Mr. Cheatham is here, and I suspect that he wants to testify in
Prior to the,
opposition. Is that correct? Or in support?
He has to be sworn
I
in
don't-
first.
Yeah, let's get you sworn in.
Let's get everyone sworn in.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, let's hear from Mr. Cheatham.
I'm Dr. Marvin Cheatham. I'm president of Matthew Henson Neighborhood Association, which is the association in which the premises is actually located. We were here about 2.5 years ago. Initially, we were in opposition to the transfer of the liquor license from Mr. Armwood. I forget how to pronounce Michael's last name, but we were initially in opposition. We met with the previous owner and the new owner to at least share with them the concerns that the neighborhood had. We already have 15 liquor stores in our general area, which means we have a plethora of liquor stores. We were able to come to a written agreement. I think you should have it on file. The agreement was that we would concur with the transfer, provided one each year. Doc's Liquor, through its ownership, would have annual membership in the neighborhood association, and that it would support the elementary school, which is 3 blocks away, the high school, which we were really concerned
I
because
about.
really want to object to this, but I don't know.
Is it an MOU that's attached to the license? I guess that's my first question.
It was a document that was in fact submitted as a part
It's
of
a
the record.
violation hearing when you made an
Both
admission.
parties signed it.
Okay, and you're going to want to be heard in mitigation.
Yeah, but I mean, what we're saying here is he admitted they did it. I mean, I don't know what value it has to go on this. I mean, I don't mind somebody talking, but I don't think it's relevant in this case.
Well, we haven't finished listening to him.
Well, he wasn't there when it happened, and that's the thing that then if I bring anybody that wants to speak to any hearing, you always say they got to have something relevant to what we're doing here.
No, what we say is look at Huang Young versus Board of Liquor Licenses, spring term 2014, Maryland Court of Special Appeals 2306. We're simply listening to him, and we'll give the evidence whatever credibility it needs to be given. If he doesn't have evidence, it's a courtesy to the community.
Well,
Go ahead.
I really bristle at the community. It's a community group that represents a portion. Now, okay, but I mean, everybody kept saying you give the community, which is only a
Dr.
community.
Cheatham's group.
I got it.
Okay.
All right, I'll sit down now. I'll wait.
Okay.
I found it appalling because he agreed to the agreement that we came up with, a written agreement. And I'll be very brief. Our concern is that, one, the agreement that we have that is in fact on record has not been complied with by this owner. He's not supported the community. He's not supported the elementary school or the high school. We are the neighborhood association that got the law changed. We're the ones who requested through Delegate Hayes that the fines be doubled, because we have now experienced Macio's with selling to children, Old Clubhouse selling to children, Ebony selling to children, and Oxford.
With all due respect, that doesn't have anything to do with this case.
Okay, I can finish with this. We're asking, we don't know what the procedure is so far as the specific amount of time for the suspension, and that's why we wanted to come forward. We think that it should be a very extensive suspension because we also have drug sales that are taking place in this store. And that's why the community wanted to come.
Before us.
That's also not before you as well.
Okay. So, Madam Secretary, do we have an MOU on the record with this license? That's my first question.
May I take the?
Yes, you may.
Yes, okay. So, from the record from September 18th, 2014, the transfer, as part of the transfer information, there was an MOU placed in there between the applicant and the Matthew Henson Neighborhood Association as part of the agreement.
All right. And Mr. Kudensky, do we know if we're in violation of that agreement?
Well, we're not here for that. Nobody put us on. The only thing we're notice here was that they were serving a minor, and that was it. We admitted to it.
Okay.
Somebody wants to do another case, that's something different. Okay. This, in mitigation, this is a first-time offense for this individual. He's been there 2 years. He had his cousin that was working there. He was a momentary lapse where he was attending to an ATM machine, and that's when it happened. He's sorry. He said it won't happen again, and he's making steps to make sure that everybody is carded when they come in there. And I don't think it should be treated any different than any other first-time offender.
Madam Secretary, can I see a copy of the MOU?
That's what the file was so extensive from that date because there were several things. I'm getting that right out for you now.
But his point is well taken, and he's not here on violation either.
That would be,
No, I understand.
that would be a part of the renewal process.
That's true. But I certainly can look at it and make a determination based on that.
Is it added to the license?
It is added to the license, right?
It was added at the, I'm reading the board information, and at the information that was provided to the board, there was, the MOU was to be added to the license. So it was added as a part of the file by the board. That's why I'm trying to get it out, because it's in, there's just a huge file, sorry. Here it is. There we go. Here is the 2-page MOU. And also Commissioner Hayfie, a copy of the decision transcript from that same date as well.
Oh, this is the transcript,
From the decision, yes, from that date as well.
and that actually says that it was added to the license?
Correct, sir.
That's a renewal issue, though.
Me and her.
This is the actual, it shows where that's.
Having trouble hearing you, Mr. Kudensky, and Mr. Cheatham.
You here,
Speak into the microphone
or he's
for the TV.
TV?
For the TV audience,
All of us.
all of us,
Collective all.
collective all. This does
Mr.
not say it's added to the license.
Mr. Cheatham, do you have any facts related to this incident?
No, we do not.
We always say it's part of the license and it will be accurate. This is the action from the board. Say it's added to the license.
It's enclosed as part of the file, yeah.
So this is part of the file, but.
I'm confused. Is it added to the license or not?
There's, on the notes, she says enclosed as part of the file, which is what I'm showing you as a copy of the notes from the from the date. That hearing took place over 2 hearing dates. And so there was the vote was postponed until an MOU was reached. So, and that's,
That has nothing to do with
but
what
that
we're
I
here
don't think
for
it's,
today. That's what I'm
you were
trying to
asking me
say.
the questions regarding that, but that was so
Didn't
our
say
notes
it
do,
in the transcript.
our note says enclosed in the file. So it is enclosed in the file.
Right, okay. Mr. Cheatham, I appreciate your comments, and I ask that, we've listened to your comments, and that I believe the MOU, whether or not it's attached to the license, that's something that what you just testified today is something that you can bring up at the renewal process.
It should be considered.
It should be considered as part of the renewal process.
And if you're going to discipline them on that, that's when we would do that.
I understand, we appreciate it.
Ready to vote?
Oh, well, he's already voted guilty.
Oh, I know.
I mean,
but
is there any,
already admitted.
right, is there any other mitigation testimony?
Other than he's in there 2 years, he's instructed all his employees. He basically runs the place by himself with his nephew, who was pinching in for him. And I think it was an isolated instance in this case. So we'd ask the board to treat him the same as they would treat, the prior, first-time offenders.
I mean, you said that he has spoken to his employees. Has he implemented anything, any other
Well,
steps?
he's
to
not
prevent
going
this
to let
from
his
happening?
nephew, a cousin, work there anymore doing that. He was just pitching in for him while he was working on the ATM machine that day.
So his cousin is, I guess, terminated for
Yeah.
lack of a better word. Okay.
What's the community feeling about how the place is run?
We have made 911 calls to the police with reference to the drug sales that take place daily in front of the store as well as in the store. The community just felt we need to at least go on record expressing our concern that we felt the memorandum of understanding was broken and he has not been a good tenant.
Yeah, what have the police done on the drug sales? Have they found any?
No, but they run the people away. And I've spoken with the owner and encouraged him to call 911, told him to call me at my home. We would help call 911 to remove the loitering and the drug sales, but those drug sales continue to take place.
Well, I want to object. If we don't have any proof of that, I mean, just to be, there's drug sales in this building probably today, but what has it got to do with what we're doing here?
I note the
Okay.
objection for the rule, for the record, and I sustain your objection based on the case law that we have
In front of us.
tells us what to do with community comments. You ready?
Ready?
Yes.
He's already
He's admitted to it.
admitted, and my vote is not a suspension, but a $250 fine.
I am, I agree with no suspension, but I think that we need to increase the fine to 600.
I was going to go 1,000.
I'll go with 1,000.
Well, I got anything, can I say anything, or can I go with 500? I mean,
We just took.
I know you're
discussing
done.
the
I know, we're
violation.
just
Sing
talking, and I'm talking too. I mean, I represent him.
Listen,
Yeah, if it's,
What-
the rule has been
Hold-
like before, I mean, I like to see consistency as when you apply the rule.
yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
I understand. What's your basis for,
Well, it's just that that whole section is filled with problems. That whole neighborhood. I know that for a fact. I drive through it every day. And it's just people hanging out all over the place. I will go with 750. That's my recommendation.
750? That's fine.
And you have a renewal process to.
Yes.
Yes.
Just for the record, the fact that there are occurrences in the neighborhood other than this specific offense have not been taken into consideration by me, and I suspect by not the commissioners, in making the ruling for the 750.
And,
Yeah.
right, the other issues have not been taken into consideration by me.
So to clear that up, that would be a total of 875 and 30 days from the state to pay.
Yes, ma'am.
Off the record.
Off the record on this one.
Okay.
Mr. Akris, would you please step up here? We can go back on the record. We're not going to call the next case yet.
Will be on the record for this?
Yes, on the record, please.
I'd like to call this.
Staff report. I have asked Mr. Akris, who is a staff member, to provide us and the public with information regarding nuisance establishments. I know that there has been some conversation about the communities feeling that they're not being heard, that we're not following the law. And so it is my opinion, and I don't want to speak for Commissioner Hayfie or Commissioner Trotter, it is my opinion that we have followed Article 2B explicitly, and that there are other options to the community, and I have asked Mr. Akris to preliminarily look into those other options. So if you would, please.
Thank you, sir. That's Thomas Akris, A-K-R-A-S. Looking at the Baltimore City Code specifically, local ordinances, there are 3 situations that I've outlined as per request of the chair regarding public nuisances, and they're found in Article 19 of the police ordinances. And it's for public nuisances, neighborhood nuisances, and then there's actually another nuisance entitled neighborhood nuisances and unruly social events. But, in sum, the law empowers the police commissioner based on a number of police reports that the commissioner receives over a course of a period ranging from 2 years to 6 months to initiate an investigation in regards to these particular properties to move ahead with a public nuisance action. And essentially what happens is, particularly for the public nuisance matter, the police reports can involve cases of prostitution, illegal adult entertainment, CDS, controlled dangerous substances, manufacturing, distributing, storage, use. Any of these occurrences happen at any premise, privately, but particularly in this one, publicly. We can call it a bar, we can call it a house. The police department will hold a hearing and make a determination on the seriousness of the findings, and in conjunction with the Department of Housing and Community Development, can initiate a public nuisance case against this particular property. That's done usually in the district court. And the scale of evidence is a preponderance of the evidence. It's not beyond reasonable doubt. So if the Department of Housing and Community Development can show in district court that indeed these incidences have occurred and they're not being abated, then the court can order the establishment closed up to a year. So that's something that the city has actually regularly used. I spoke with a representative from the Department of Housing and Community Development today, and to the best of her recollection, I believe within the last couple of years there were 10 cases that were padlocked. And furthermore, she's going to provide me with more information, but this action by the police, by the Department of Housing and Community Development, has been used against licensed liquor establishments. So this is a venue and an option that the city has used to shut these particular establishments down for a year. And there is a process. There's also an appeals process, but specifically for public nuisances, I know that, Mr. Chair, you wanted me to inform you in regards to that. There's another piece with neighborhood nuisances and neighborhood nuisances with unruly behavior, and they basically follow the same line. So there are a number of options that the city has at its disposal to initiate these cases against these nuisance properties, which include licensed liquor establishments.
What happens to the liquor license at that time?
At that time, if, for instance, a licensed liquor establishment is closed for a year, they still have to abide by Article 2B, which...
180
Within actually, if you're closed within 90 days, you have to have a hearing before the board before you're allowed open. You can get potentially a hardship extension up to 360 days, depending on the circumstances, but with a court order closing you, the lines that are running between Article 2B and, for instance, the public nuisance law, the timelines are very tight. So potentially closing for a year could potentially, in some cases, expire the license. I don't believe there's any tolling period for if there is a court order padlocking the establishment for a year that wouldn't toll the amount of time that you need to be open, that every 90-day period.
Okay. Thank you very much.
No,
I
thank you,
appreciate
sir.
it.
Yep, not a problem.
All right, we're back on the record for violations.
Okay. So the next one is Pedro Avalos and Ana Morhan, and this is Telemaris Restaurant. Trade name is Telemaris. This is located at 318 South Broadway, a Class B beer, wine, and liquor. A violation of 405 prohibitive hours, and 405B prohibitive hours on November 7th, 2015. If you'd like, I can read it into the record, but I'll let Mr. Shulman.
Let me see what we're going to do.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, and Madam Secretary. For the record, my name is Paul Schuman. I represent Telemaris. At this time, we'll be admitting the violation and waive a formal reading thereof into the record and would speak solely in mitigation.
Okay. Mr. Christomalis, you can have a seat. For the record, Madam Secretary, the charges will be included in the record, stipulated to the charges, and counsel will be heard in mitigation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The situation, excuse me, that occurred on November the 7th was that normally Telemaris operates from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. In this particular evening, there was a private party. The man to my immediate right is Mr. Castellone. He was managing Telemaris on this particular evening. He's been managing for about 5 months now, so this was right after he'd first started. He's heavily involved in the kitchen, and what happened was it was his responsibility, and he did not realize they were past the prohibited hours. It was an honest mistake. Nothing has occurred since. I believe this is the first violation for Telemaris, so I would request no suspension and a minimal fine.
The folks that were drinking were all part of the party. They weren't regular patrons. They were all part of the party, and the time just got away from them, basically.
That's correct.
Okay.
What time was it violated?
2:18.
That's right, it's true, June. And you usually open from 10 to 10?
Yes, this was a private birthday party.
So no liquor was being sold at the time? It was part of the, or is it a pay-as-you-go bar at that time?
I'm unsure as to if we could swear Mr. Castellone.
Well, then you would have to have him sworn in.
I
if you're
understand
gonna-
that.
If he's gonna
But
testify.
I do not know if it was all included in the party or if
Well, let's
liquor
just
was.
have him sworn in to be safe, okay? So let's have them both sworn in, just in case.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Now, do you understand what Commissioner Trotter's question was?
Yeah.
Okay.
I need his name and spelling.
Go ahead, give me your name.
Nori Castellon.
Spell it.
Nardy Castellon.
Okay. And if you would respond to Commissioner Trotter's question.
Were you selling drinks over the bar during the party?
No, sir, it was all prepaid, drinks was already
Included
included, yes.
in the cost.
And
Okay.
as like the lawyer was saying that I was heavily working on the pen,
Right.
on the kitchen, and
I understand.
lost my track of time.
Okay.
I'm confused. It was included in the cost. Are you saying it wasn't served?
No, it was.
I didn't understand your question.
Well, was the bar open and they were serving drinks over the bar and charging people for it, and at 2 o'clock, that's obvious at that time.
His
that
testimony was it was a private party
Party.
and everything was included.
Included in the
Yeah.
party.
So, right, but the bar was open, obviously.
Bar was,
No, it wasn't open, I'm sorry.
No, what I mean is,
Hold on, did you just speak?
Yes, he did.
So, just, I need your name before we go any
Luis
further.
Portillo, I'm sorry.
Yeah, nobody speak out of turn.
I'm sorry.
no, I understand that the establishment wasn't open, but in order for them, in order for them to have alcohol, the bar
Was open.
was open, right, yeah.
So the establishment was closed on the outside at 10 o'clock.
It was closed to the public. It was only open for purposes of the private party.
Got it, okay.
Closed to the public generally, even past and even before 10 o'clock.
What time did the party start?
Around 9, 7, 8
What
to
time
9
did you
o'clock.
close to the public?
Public 10 or 11, the latest.
Okay.
And the complaint was caused by loud noise.
My understanding was they were drawn there by a complaint of loud noise. However, upon investigation, the loud noise complaint was, I guess, found to be unfounded or erroneous. That's my reading of it.
They weren't written up for it. They
Right.
weren't violated. And he walked in and the people were sitting there with the drinks.
That's correct.
That's, you know.
Okay?
It's a Class B, okay. What's the 311 history, Madam Secretary?
On this particular, it was just the 311 that was called there. I'd like to, if I can, I'd call up the Inspector Christomalis because he's normally in that district, and if he can be sworn in.
Come on up. Get him sworn in. Right hand up.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Identify yourself and tell us what you.
Inspector Chris Malice, Baltimore City Liquor Board. We responded to a complaint for loud noise, as the report stated. I have not responded to that establishment in that I can recall in over a year. I will just say for the record that was my first interaction with them, and they were extremely cooperative and took full responsibility when I approached the manager.
That's all I have.
That's it. All right.
Thank you, Inspector.
Based on the admission by counsel and the mitigation, first offense, $250 fine.
I agree with a $250 fine. I don't believe that a suspension is warranted, and given the fact that this is the first violation, and it doesn't, based on Inspector Christomalis' testimony, they don't have an extensive 311 call history.
Same.
So that'll be a total of $375 that's due in 30 days.
3 days.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioners. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okey-doke.
Who's next?
Jay and Lee, the new Chelsea. Here.
Chelsea?
Yeah, thank you.
No,
Yeah, they're next. Oh, we'll
that's all right. You too.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
J. and Lee, New Chesley Liquors, trade name, and that is 6902 Hartford Road, a Class A beer, wine, and liquor. There are 3 charges. The first is a violation of sales to minor on December 10th, 2015. The next one is in regards to a violation of our records rule, which was on December 10th, 2015. And the final is a violation of 418, illegal conduct, on the same date, December 10th, 2015. I can read them in if you'd like, but I'd let the attorney let me
See
do.
what council wants to do, Mr.
We
Maslin.
waive the reading of the formal charges. We'd enter pleas of not guilty. For the record, Gary Maslin on behalf of the licensee.
Not guilty.
Not guilty. Okay.
Okay. Let's have all the witnesses sworn in, please.
Unusual little set of facts.
Okay, we might want to have the just in the back, if you all would stand up and raise your hands because you're going to,
If you're going to testify,
just in case.
but we're not going to put you on
We're not
camera.
gonna put you on camera. You can just stand right there. You don't have to, you just stand right there and you raise your hands. There you go. Yeah, you're good. You're going to testify.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Just for the record, Mr. Madeline, so you know, what we've done is for the vice police, the undercover police, or the minors, will not be on camera. They'll be available for cross-examination from that end if you wish, so that we don't have a Sixth Amendment issue in confrontation or cross-examination, but they won't be on camera. Okay.
Our issue is not so much that there was a sale to a minor. It's just the procedures followed in this case are most bizarre. And that's really what we would like to present to the board. And based on the unusual manner in which this investigation was conducted, I don't believe there should be an adverse finding. But we could get into that when the police officer testifies.
Okay. First up.
Agent Mark Fosler, Baltimore City Liquor Board. On December 10th, 2015, we were conducting underage operations with members of the Sheriff's Office, Baltimore City Vice Unit, and the Liquor Board. At approximately 9:20 p.m., underage minors, male and female, entered Chesley Liquors. The female minor was sold alcohol, 24-ounce can of beer, and exited the establishment where she was photographed by the Sheriff's Office. Members of the Sheriff's deputies, Baltimore City Vice Unit, and members of the Liquor Board entered the establishment and recovered the photocopied money that was used to make the purchase. At that time, the purchased alcohol was returned. We informed the operator of a sale to a minor, and we conducted a routine inspection. At that time, we found that we couldn't find any employee records were available. The trader's license was expired, and so we issued the violation to the operator at the time, and then we departed without further incident.
Mr. Foss, were you actually there when the sale was made?
Yes.
Right, you were there. Did you see it was a lady cadet or a woman cadet?
Yes, sir.
Did you see how she was dressed at the time?
Yes, sir.
Did she have a hood up over her head?
No, sir.
She didn't have a hood on her head?
No, sir.
How many other people? Did you enter the establishment at the time?
Yes, sir.
So you were in there, inside the store at the time of the sale?
No, sir. I entered the establishment.
Afterwards. So you weren't in there at the time of the transaction?
That's correct.
All right. Did you see the store clerk after she left the establishment lock the door?
No, sir.
You didn't see it?
I didn't see that.
Where were you positioned in this?
Right outside, but I was paying attention to the underage minor, and
Okay. All right. We'll get into that. All right. Thank you. I have no further questions.
Inspector Christomon,
I don't have anything to add.
who do we have down there?
We have the sheriff, this is the sheriff's, they'll also introduce themselves, but they'll be off camera.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Ma'am.
Hello. Deputy McCorkle. She went in first, the cadet.
Wait, hold on.
Okay.
Yeah, I need full names and spellings when people come up.
Deputy McCorkle.
I need
Your
the
full
first
name.
Okay. Shantay.
I need spelling.
SHANTAY. MCCORKLE.
Okay. Go ahead.
The cadet walked in first. I walked in moments behind her. She purchased the alcoholic beverage. I witnessed. She began to exit the store. I went out behind her. Then the other officers went in behind.
Ma'am, did the cadet have a hoodie on up over her head?
No,
She did not?
no. I don't think she had a hoodie on her head. I don't think she did.
You don't recall
No,
that?
I don't recall. I don't.
How many other people went in the store at the time?
Just her and I.
All right. Do you recall the store clerk locking the door as soon as you left?
No.
You don't recall any of that?
No, because as we left, then we came right back in. They came right back in. The officers
right.
came right back in.
All right. Thank you. Those were the questions there.
No? Next.
Detective Abraham Gatto, Vice Unit.
Go ahead.
As I remember, I really have nothing to add other than I did see the store clerk secure the door of the establishment. As far as after the sale was made, the deputies exited and he secured the door. And as I went in to help retrieve different things, it was told to me, "Oh, I'm afraid, something was about to happen to me. I'm glad you're here." So we explained to them that it indeed was a underage buy, and that the individuals that had approached them were there for a sale to minor, and that he had sold to a minor.
Now, sir, can you tell? Did the cadet have a hoodie on?
What the reference is the cadet and then the deputy sheriff that entered did not. They were wearing, maybe have been wearing winter clothing because it was December. The 14th, I believe, or excuse me, let me refer to their notes, the 10th of 2015. So it was cold out. I believe what the reference is it wasn't a male a female that the employees here were questioning me and my sergeant and others about. It was another member of the team that was observing things, may have been wearing a hood. And that was the concern. It was not the
Not the cadet.
No, sir. It was not the people that were purchasing. So if they were leery about something, it may have been another individual, but that individual was not inside the establishment. He was on the outside of the establishment, watching.
But he was visible from the inside.
Well, the whole store is visible. I could see to the back of the store, and people could see out. It's very lit up, and it's all glass.
And the clerk expressed to you his concern that he believed they were about to be robbed. Is that correct?
He made mention, not in reference to the females, but in reference to an individual that was outside. And my only defense at the time, my defense now is, usually if someone's going to rob you, they're not there to buy a strawberry Rita first, and then they're going to rob you. They don't want to be on camera that long. There's not going to be that much interaction. So that was my comment there. But I understood what he was saying because he said a previous possible robberies.
But it was immediately after the young lady left the store that he locked the door. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And then you were knocked on the
Myself
door.
and other members of the sheriff's office and the vice unit he had to see me to let me inside the door.
And he immediately let you inside. And he expressed to you immediately he was happy to see you.
He said wasn't sure what was going on, but he was in fear.
All right.
And I explained to him at the moment, and he said, "Okay, it was a sting investigation." But again, I reiterate that usually people don't buy a drink prior to committing that act.
I have a further question. I'd just like to call.
Wait a minute. I don't know. Has this? No, you're finished, Detective Gatto. Were you sworn in, sir?
I was.
Okay. Come on up.
My name is Sergeant Poma, Poma.
Okay.
Your first name, though.
Massiliano with the Baltimore City Sheriff's Office.
Do that one more time for me.
Massiliano.
Okay. And what would you like to tell us, sir?
I would like to specify that when we went in, we made it very clear that we were.
Please speak into the microphone so that
My
they can't see you, but they can hear you.
my apologies.
That's okay.
I would like to specify to the court and to everyone here that when we go in as a matter of practice and a protocol, we specify that we are from the Baltimore City Sheriff's Office, and everyone is. And everyone displays, can you hear me?
Yeah. Fine. We hear you fine.
Good. Much appreciated.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Everyone displays their badge, and me being the sergeant, I will immediately let them know that we're from the Baltimore City Sheriff's Office. We conducted an operation in reference to alcohol, underage alcohol buy, and we'll let them know. One of my duties is to come behind the counter and retrieve the money that we use to do these buys. And my files, without entertaining you, my file has all the copies and all the photocopies of the money, the cadets getting a photograph with the evidence, the police reports, and everything else. We're very much on the up and up, and I distinctly remember speaking with the individual about who we were, so there was no doubt. Because the night we were conducting the operation in conjunction with Baltimore City Police, they also came in and assisted us. I just wanted to specify that because I want to make known that the Baltimore City Sheriff's Office does not have the plainclothes deputies just going into a business and establishment, scaring the employees or pretending that we are doing something else. We're very much on official duties.
Okay. Mr. Maslin?
When the transaction took place between the cadet, you weren't in there in deputy uniforms, were you? There's plainclothes people in there, correct?
It is a plainclothes detail.
Right.
One of my deputies was there observing the whole transaction.
And he was standing on the outside?
No, my deputies just testified that she was inside.
He was inside. And but there were other people standing outside?
That's a matter of protocol and safety.
I understand.
Yes.
It's fair to say that this gentleman believed that he was, did you believe he thought he was about to be robbed by?
I cannot quantify nor attest
understand.
what he believed.
Okay, thank you.
I can only specify that what we do, it's on the up and up on official business, and we
No
qualify
one's suggesting
ourselves.
anything to the contrary. All right, I'd like to call this gentleman.
All right, go ahead.
Thank you, Sergeant.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Would you state your name for the record, please?
Johnny Salmons?
And Mr. Salmons, you were the clerk on duty that
Yes, S-A-M-M-O-N-S?
that made this sale, is that correct?
Correct, sir.
How long have you been engaged in the alcohol beverage business?
For 40 years.
And have you ever been cited with making a sale to a minor?
Never.
And on this particular occasion, you did in fact sell alcohol to a minor. Can you explain to this board why and how this transaction occurred?
Yes. On that particular date, December 10th, it was 9:20. I had my friend here, Jim, with me. I called him to come over with me because my employee didn't show up and I didn't want to be alone. And
Why didn't you want to be alone?
in case of robbery, because we were robbed a week before that, prior to that.
All right, and what happened when the cadet came in?
The cadet, it was a woman that came in with a knit hat, and there was three of them. The woman, and then there was a man that came in, and he was a cadet as well, and he had a hood on. And of course, I always greet and eyeball everyone as they come in, and he's pulling his hood down over his face. So I'm panicking right at this point, and he keeps looking around. He even frightened my friend Jim. So I don't even remember selling the alcohol to the woman because I'm watching them and the other cadet. She's fooling with the nuts. She's just acting strange. And we had a robbery before where they did make a purchase, and when the drawer opened, that's when the guns came out. And I was actually looking out for my safety as well, plus Mr. Jim's safety, and I went ahead with the sale without, I don't even remember making that sale. That's how much of a alert panicked I was in.
Well, after they left the store, what did you do immediately?
I immediately locked the door and said, man, Jim, I don't know what's going on. Let's get to the back of the store. Because I was just ready to shut down and close.
All right, and what's the next thing that occurred?
The officer, the detective, I forget his name, the tall, muscular fellow, came to the door. And I'm like, I'm glad you're here. I was going to explain to him, and he notified me it was an alcohol sting. And I just cooperated from there on in. And that was pretty much the
Does the
incident.
board have any questions? I do have questions. So, Mr. Salmon, just for the record, I think you said that you sold the alcohol to the cadet, to the female cadet. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Now, with regard to the records that Agent Fossler asked you for, and It's his allegation that there weren't any employee records.
None to my accessibility.
Okay. And trader's license? You didn't have a trader's license?
There was one there, but apparently, as he pointed to me, the detective, that it was out of date, and he said, that's okay, it just went out, just then. Just went out of date.
What do you-
Like a couple of days or a week or so.
Okay.
So I looked at it and I was like, okay.
Okay.
And I said, maybe they do have it, they just haven't put it in yet.
All right.
What do you mean that the records weren't accessible to you? Are they not kept in the store?
I just operate it. I don't have access to the computer system other than just a register. And that's pretty much it. Like the internal parts of putting in.
Right here. Mr. Lee's right here. He's going to speak.
He's
He'll
gonna come
address
up.
everything.
Okay, so there's, there,
I would just proffer that the other gentleman that was in the store was there.
Mr. Jim.
Yes, this is Mr.
Right,
Jim.
yeah, I assumed that.
And he would testify that he was literally shaking, scared to death, and he also believed that they were about to be robbed and was in fear for his life.
Okay.
With that, Mr. Lee. would you-
Offer's accepted. Bring
Thank
Mr.
you.
Lee up and
Mr.
put him
Lee,
on the
go.
microphone.
Lee, go ahead, state your name for the record.
Yeah, my name is Jane Lee, on the Chesley Liquors.
Yes, thank you.
And Mr. Lee, you hired this gentleman here, he's a reliable employee. Is that correct?
Yes, employee, and you're 20 years friend too, yeah.
And he's a 20-year friend. And you didn't have any employee records on there? How many employees do you have? You really basically have one employee, is that
Right,
correct?
just personally when I'm tired,
You
hear
understand
me.
you have to have a record, even though you only have one person, you need to have a sheet with all your people there. on
Now,
the
yes,
premises.
now,
You
yes, yeah,
understand that?
yes. Mm.
And you normally work in the store, is that correct?
Right, correct.
So you'd have to list yourself and your wife. Now, as to the trader's license, it was out of date. Can you explain to the board why you didn't have a current license there?
Yes, the tangible tax is the jump up big time. So my CPA say these ones, they don't count the depreciations. So he's going to negotiate to the some tangible tax lower down. That's why he was hold it, that time.
You were unable to get your trader's license because your CPA was in the process of negotiating the tangible property tax bill with the city. Is
Yes,
that
sir.
correct?
Yes, sir.
And you intend on getting it as soon as the
Oh,
CPA
yes.
has adjusted?
Yes,
made
yes.
it- The adjustment's been made, the bill can be paid, so you can get your license.
Yes, sir.
So so I'm clear, there was a tax hold on the license.
Oh, not the tax whole. The city built the tangible taxes jump up. That should be lower because depreciation.
And you still don't have the trader's license because your CPA.
Yeah, we just talked to some yesterday because of this hearing. He said almost here from the some work on it lower, about 50% lower than before. The some tangible tax.
Getting money from the city after it's been paid is it's very difficult.
Been there, done that.
And
Yeah.
So it says what's happened was the CPA is trying to negotiate the lower bill. He's going to pay the bill, and then they'll issue the license. He's caught until the CPA and the city have come to terms.
Yeah, every year I have the depreciation for how much it was inside the agreement, something like that. Yes.
Personal property tax. The problem, Mr. Maslin, is that the offense occurred on December the 10th. It was already expired.
Yes.
Today's the 15th, the 25th of February. January, February.
Yeah, my CPA, everything by the mail, the city work, there's some very, even the he say, yeah, just.
Agent Fossler has.
Agent Bossler, Balmer City Liquor Board. The trader's license expires April 30th. So we're already, how far, I mean, in another 2 months, you have to have a 2016 trader's
Correct.
license. So
Correct.
we don't even have a 2015 yet. So we're still operating off of
That's not-
2004.
I understand, Agent Fossler, but that's not before us right now. No,
According,
not next year's license.
no, but
No, but this
This year's license,
2015
it's been
license.
expired for
I understand
Yeah,
that, but he
six-
was,
now
his
20
testimony
months.
was about
10 months.
10
next
months,
month. I mean,
right.
next year. Okay.
Oh, you still file the tax, sales tax, everything.
You're up to date in your sales tax and
Yes,
everything.
everything on time.
You spoke today, as a matter of fact, with your accountant, is that
Correct,
correct?
yeah.
And what did he inform you as when he's going to have a resolution?
He's almost finished the some number negotiate for the some depreciation last year and before, how much tax return say, how much the some tangible tax asset in the store. Yeah, that's what adjusted the numbers.
All right, thank you. I don't have anything further. Just in summary, in closing, as I explained to you initially, it's a most unusual case. You have a 40-year, a man that's been in the business 40 years, never has sold to a minor before. He was legitimately in fear for his life. He didn't even remember the sale. He had just been robbed a week before. Same scenario, somebody comes in, makes a small purchase, and then once that register's open, it happened. It's not his policy to go and not card people, given his track record. I think he's a credible individual, borne out primarily by the fact of his actions right after they left. He locks the door, and the witness that was sitting in there was shaking himself, and they were actually relieved to see the police being there, that it wasn't a situation where he was being robbed. Now, having said that, it's not an excuse, but it's certainly a mitigating factor that I'd ask the board to consider. I'd ask the board to consider that, yes, a violation occurred here, but given the fact that and the circumstances involved, not to impose a fine. As to the records, you basically got one employee, this gentleman, and himself and the other licensee. He should have made a list listing the employee. I advised him to do that. He's going to do that. As to the license issue, it's not something within his control. His CPA has been going back and forth with the city over a depreciation issue. Personal property tax bills, as you know, or the board knows, are based on what the values are that are put on those assessments, and it can be a dramatic swing depending on what the assessed value is of the property. This is a very small neighborhood liquor store that just serves the local community. It's not a store where people come from all over, and the bill there and the equipment he has should be very small. This bill jumped almost to over $1,000 or near $1,000. It should be a couple $100, and his accountant has been working on it, and he's indicated to him that he'll have a resolution quickly. So I asked the board to temper their fines in accordance with all the mitigating factors that we have there.
Well, just for the record, Mr. Maslin, as I recall the testimony from Mr. Salmon, he admitted to the sale. He admitted there were no records. And I think Mr. Lee admitted that there was no current trader's license. So we have a technical violation. I'm not unappreciative of their fear. Believe me, I'm not. The problem is there's technical violation of the law, and that's what we need to follow. And so taking that into consideration, I think that the mitigation and the fact that it was the first offense is something that the board members obviously need to take into consideration in terms of any fine. But just for the record, there were 3 violations, okay? Mr. Trotter.
And the board has been fairly vocal about underage drinking, that we said we were sending stings out, that we were working with the sheriff's department. We're not doing this on the sly. You know, we're going to test a lot of organizations out over the next year. So, you know, he should have been aware that he should card everybody coming into the store that looks under 30 years old, right? So I don't think that mitigated circumstances.
Right, and as far as the records, this is something that the licensee should have known, because it's been a part of our rules for however long that you're supposed to have records on the premises. And as far as the Rule 418 violation, it sounds like that the license has been expired for greater than 8 months. And I don't think that's something that we should overlook.
It's time to make a recommendation on finding of the fines. I don't feel that it warrants a suspension, but
Right. And I wanted to hear from Madam Secretary, who's walking in now. The violation history, I just want it to be placed on the record.
sorry, Michelle.
The question is,
What's the violation history?
Sure. There previously are now found violations on this matter. It was transferred in 2013, if I'm looking at the correct one, and a previous violation was issued but postponed, so it never went to hearing.
Do we know what the offense was?
Yes, it was it was a violation of Rule 401A, sales to minors, and 4.05 B, which I believe is
When was that date?
that was in
March of 2014.
But did you say there was no finding?
There was no disposition.
It was postponed, and there was no disposition of that case.
Oh, okay.
So 4.05, just to pull out my rules so that you know, is prohibited hours.
Safety?
I appreciate your client's mitigation testimony or the employee's mitigation testimony, but as we have stated, there are 3 violations here, and I don't think we can merge any of them. So I am 600 for the first violation, and second and third violation, given that this is the technically first offense, we can't go beyond 500 for those 2. So I am 300 for each.
Mr. Trotter?
So that'd be a total of $1,200.
Yep.
Yes.
I agree.
And that's all you need.
So that is 1325.
Yes, and I agree, so it's unanimous.
Thank
you, Mr. Maslin.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I'll give this to you right now. Hold on one second, Gary. Can you give me 2 seconds for your clients? March
Give us a second.
26, 2016. 30 days. Thank you. Have a good day, Gary.
Thanks, Gary.
Mr. Chairman and Board, there is a mitigating issue in regards to Los Amigos, which is your last case. They were served correctly, but the attorney who represents them, Mr. Schulman, who was here for another case, has left and did not realize that they were on the docket. He's going to be sending me a letter in regards to the issues that are going on with his client. I know that the custom would be to pick up this license, and I let him know that on the phone because I was on the phone with him out in the in regards to because they did not show up. I do have a signed notice from the licensee that they did get this back on February 3rd. But Mr. Schuman cannot make it the hearing for the 10th and is asking for a different date. So just long story short, I just wanted to put those things on the record because this is this was an interesting case. in
Was he
regards to that.
served?
He was, we had emailed in regards to this case because it was previously postponed, because there's a pending transfer that was scheduled for the 10th of March. That's the reason why this date was first, so the transfer could occur. And so there have been numerous emails between me and the attorney in regards to this. But he lost track of the fact that this was scheduled as well today.
But does he intend to come on the 10th?
He intends to have someone to be here either the 10th or the 17th. He has another court case on the 10th, so that's the issue with the scheduling. But he will get here as soon as I can
You gonna
repost it.
transfer? You gonna
No, I will do the violation first before the transfer, and I will remove the pending transfer before this so I will make sure that they're in the correct order.
Who was the inspector involved in this case?
It was
Fossler
Mr.
and
Fossler and Mr.
Kosmalis.
Kosmalis.
You know, I would like to hear from the two of you with regard to this establishment and whether or not we should pick up the license tonight or just postpone it? Please?
Is this on the record, sir?
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
it
on
is.
the record, absolutely.
All right,
Are you gonna be sworn in?
Yeah, it has to be sworn in. Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
Agent Fosler, Baltimore City Liquor Board. I believe this is the first time they've ever had a violation of sale to a minor. However, there were no employee records, and the issue is that the bartender, when we entered the establishment with the vice unit and with the sheriff's department, ran out the exit door. We couldn't even catch her, and they couldn't provide us. It took a long time to find this individual's, even her first name. They couldn't provide us with a secondary name. There's been some question about the place as a person who originally was connected with Playbook came over here, and this is when we started to get complaints about this establishment. So,
When you say complaints, does that mean 311 complaints or just people calling you on the phone complaining?
people calling on the phone, there have been a couple 311 complaints.
All right.
Most recently, I think, was February 14th.
Okay.
What's the 311 complaint? Noise?
No, the 311 complaint on the 14th had to do with underage servers, but I responded to that complaint myself and determined that the IDs that I checked, that they were 18 or older. So,
And just-
Underage servers? People behind the bar? That's what the
Yeah.
complaint was.
or waitresses.
Yes.
Waitresses, okay.
And just for your information, in regards to the transfer, we did receive some letters from the community, but they should be meeting with the community in regards to their transfer. So it's Hamilton Hills and Harbell have contacted Liquor Board in regards to the opposition to the transfer initially.
Okay. Mr. Christomalis, you need to step up to the microphone because obviously it's being sent to the city of Baltimore.
I agree with Agent Fosler. I think that the last complaint I received was on Monday at the office, where a gentleman called and said that his underage niece was working there. We couldn't verify anything. As far as that night in question, again, we went in after the cadets were served. Myself and Detective Gatto went towards the back of the establishment where, the lady ran out the back down the alley on Hartford Road and then, gone. I think the lack of cooperation that night was pretty significant, not being able to identify her. The manager couldn't identify her, if I recall correctly. No one could give us a name of the waitress. So, it's not a crazy place, meaning we're not there every single weekend. We don't get complaint after complaint. But we do get a few complaints.
Detective Gatto?
Actually, I concur with everything he said. He stole the words right out of my mouth. It was
Madam Secretary, was the licensee served for this hearing?
Yes, sir. Inspector Hyde served the licensee on February 3rd, 2016.
What concerns me is that the licensee knew that there was a hearing. I'm appreciative of conflicts by the attorney, although he should have diaried it a little bit better. But if we take the license now, the soonest that they will be in here is March the 10th.
Yes, I guess the issue is that when we're looking at our scanning and our posting rules, it's in regards to applications. Since this is a violation, the only issue is that we served it in time. We have to give our licensees 10 days notice. So yes, the soonest would be the 10th. We have postponed a case if you want to postpone judgment until the day and pick up the license in between. You can now postpone this to the 3rd and it could go on the 3rd.
Can we charge them for court.
You can't add any, I would, and I'm not the attorney, so I'll let Tom say this, but I would think that you could not add a charge, but you could postpone this
Yeah,
case.
we have officers here, we
Mhm.
have expense to the city.
We've got a lot.
Tom, why don't you come up for a minute?
Mr. Akris is going to testify. You've already been sworn, as I recall.
Mhm.
I actually
He
haven't
doesn't
been
have to be.
sworn. But I'm just giving, I'm sorry?
You're a member of the bar, you don't have to be sworn.
I am a member of the bar. I can get re-sworn if you'd like me to.
Which bar are you?
I know, right? Too many. Think 1,300. But in terms of the issue that you just raised, it presents two problems. One, if you charge them with a new charge, you need to give them at least 10 days because you're adding a charge. So that would, kind of restart the clock again. You couldn't postpone it for a week and add a charge. Because the law actually says you need 10 days notice for any new, charge or violation.
Can we find them guilty on these and give them another charge?
To an extent, I mean, when you don't have an individual who's been properly summoned present.
He's been properly summoned.
However, the attorney made the representation, maybe possibly to his client, maybe gave possibly bad advice to his client.
Well,
Attorney problem.
That's my question,
Yeah, no-
Madam Secretary. Did the attorney represent that he told his clients not to come?
He did not.
So what did he represent?
He represented that the clients did not tell him that they had been received their new hearing date.
Yeah, but did he get the date?
He did not. He said he did not get the date from his clients.
No, but
But
did
he
he
gave-
get a summons from us?
He was not summoned. The client is summoned.
He's not summoned, but you exchanged emails with him, and
In regards to
and
these
you
dates.
provided him
Yes.
with this date, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
My potential concern would be a notice issue, that if this goes up, there could be a potential notice concern because of the confusion between the transfer and the service of the summons. And I can't tell the board what to do in that sense. I would say that if you'd like, you can postpone this matter for a week
Right.
and then have everyone else come in. And if I may I turn my back to the board?
Yes, you may. And when you say when it goes up, you mean to the circuit court?
Yes.
And then there's a likelihood we could get overturned, it would be remanded, and would be back to square one.
Correct,
again.
correct. So I mean, at this point, since, I believe, were the sheriffs involved in this, or this is just a police case? Is Sarge, now, the question that I just have to ask for you, would you be available and on March 3rd, next week, if we're going to postpone this?
Right. It would be a postponement to next week.
Would you, if I may, would you be available to testify and bring all your officers in? Is that a yes? Okay, yes.
But the question today wasn't about postponing the violation hearing. The question was whether we take the license.
Right. Those are actually two separate questions.
Right.
That you could take the license, find them guilty at this moment, or you could postpone it and allow them to come in.
I suggest that we postpone it, but the question now is whether we take the license for the week.
And that, to an extent, is a decision for the board to make, and to an extent, we're not talking about back payment that's owed. We're talking about not showing up for a license, and that's happened a hearing, and that's happened before. There was one case that I recall, Sheba, where individual was properly summoned, and the individual didn't come to court. However, the facts and circumstances in this case are just a little bit different, where you have an attorney. The attorney may have given conflicting information to the licensee. There was an email exchange, and there was no. There could be concerns.
Here's the other problem.
And I'm not trying to argue for
Here's the
licensing.
other problem from the legal standpoint. If we find them guilty without a confrontation, which I don't want to do, but if we take the license, it's the finding is stayed if they file with the circuit court. So even if we take the license, they go to the circuit court tomorrow. They get the license back. It's stayed. Okay? So now we're back to square one, because I can't imagine the court wouldn't remand it back to us for a full hearing. He's okay with the third. I think we should just postpone it. And we should let them know, in no uncertain terms,
That they will be here the 3rd.
that they will be here, somebody will be here the third.
That will
Okay.
be known.
Okay.
He said, we'll lose their license if they're not.
Because I will send those two gentlemen out to get the license It's on the record, it's on TV. I hope somebody's watching and listening, because, you know, we've just got to do what's right, and that's all there is to it.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I think we're off the record, right? Are we
That's it.
done?
That is all of the cases for today, sir.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah,
Thank
not a
you.
Thank
problem.
you, Tom.
Tom,
Mr. Akris.
Mr. Akris, member of the bar.
Member of the bar. We're off the record. We can date Tom. 1,300 bars. I'm a member of lots.
you.
I'm
How are you? Nice to
I'm
talk
a
to you
member of lots of bars.